First game we're going to be taking a look at is Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously, because a lot of my viewers love it. In this scene here, I like to test the ghosting, and you see it's a little bit less on 2.4.12. You pay attention to that pole's wire. Other than that, this scene looks pretty similar to me. Looks good on both. And you can also see it here in my favorite scene, the hair test, how it's more soft and, you know, better looking on 2.4.12 version 2. Doesn't look as harsh as 2.4.6 in my opinion. Also in this next scene here, you're gonna see it in the light poles and the wires. There's less ghosting as well on 2.4.12 version 2. That's awesome seeing improvements. It's just amazing. In terms of frame rate, I'd say about the same for Red Dead Redemption 2 for my testing here. RAM usage is same as well. Video RAM usage. And here's the results. See, as I said, you get slight, maybe like 2 to 3 frame rates more on 2.4.12. Next game we'll be taking a look at is Spider-Man. Those are the settings I'm using. Again, I'm at 4K and I have the very high presets on, plus ray tracing at very high with object settings at 6. Right away, I feel like I'm getting less of that shimmering on the spider in this scene, but it's very little. It's very minimal on 2.4.12 version 2. Right away, you see I'm getting slightly more frame rates in certain scenes. I'm not sure why the frame rate dropped there, but it could be 2.4.6. My RAM usage is higher on 2.4.6. That could be something running in the background, but I doubt it because I closed everything so it didn't interfere with the testing. Alright, in this scene I wanted to see if there's any ghosting while you're web swinging, and I'd say on both they look similar, look good on both, no issues. In this scene here, what I notice is there's less shimmering in the distance, as you saw there. There's no ghosting on either version, I was happy to say, on helicopters or birds. I tried to get birds in scenes on 2.4.6, but for some reason they weren't showing up on the scene I wanted, which was here. But believe me when I say both versions have none of that ghosting that you saw in the stock version of this, of DLSS on Spider-Man. This next scene here, I wanted to test with all the ray tracing going on in the scene because we are in Times Square, so there's a lot of ray tracing on the windows, the cars up close. As you see in 2.4.12 version 2, right there I had more frame rate than 2.4.6. Alright, so the next game we'll be taking a look at is Doom Eternal. Here are my settings. So DLSS is on quality as well as in all versions. This is also 4K. So we're gonna do the space scene in the beginning where it's panning, and most of the times you'll see ghosting on the rocks on bad versions of DLSS, but I'm happy to say on both versions it looks good. Maybe minus this one scene where you get a little bit of ghosting on these rocks here. As you can see, there's little ghost trails, but it's not bad. You don't look at this all the time, and it's on both versions. But other than that, it looks good. And another thing I'd say is there's maybe a little bit less shimmering on 2.4.12 version 2 compared to 2.4.6. But I don't think it's anything major that you'll be able to see. That's kind of the trend going on here. You'll see less of that shimmering or jagged edges on 2.4.12 version 2. We'll look at this guy's ugly mug. Again, I see no differences. Frame rate's almost the same. Maybe a little bit more on 2.4.12 version 2 again. Maybe like a frame or two. Nothing major. Every frame counts, right? Not gonna take long on this look through, but this is Deep Rock Galactic. Same settings, 4K, DLSS quality, ultra settings. And this is just a super fast look. During gameplay, I didn't see much, like, I want to get scenes that are the same, but you don't see any ghosting on the rocks or anything here. And frame rate's a little bit better on 2.4.12 version 2 again. So yeah, no ghosting on the rocks here in this scene. I want to get gameplay in, but it's hard to get, you know, same scenes to match up. I want the scenes to match up when I compare these games the best I can. So this is the best I could do.
One down! Damn, I'm good at this.
Alright, so the next game we'll take a look at is CyberPunk 2077. See if there's any differences on here. Here are the settings I'm using. The preset will be Ray Tracing Ultra with DLSS at quality, 4K again. Super demanding settings right here. Kind of hard pressed to find any differences here. Maybe less shimmering in the hair on 2.4.12 version 2, but nothing too crazy.
Bastard.
On my close up there. And then in this next scene here, wanted to see if there's any issues with rain. With DLSS on, looks the same on both. No issues in this scene as well. From what I can see anyways. Maybe slightly less shimmering on 2.4.12, but that's about it. Next scene here is in the bar on the underground secret place.
Duo of Johnny Silverhands coming up.
Right on, Chica.
I think they both look good, to be honest. Performance-wise, they're equally about the same as well.
Age-old tradition. Drinks are named after our regulars.
Not seeing much issues between the two.
What I have to do?
Oh well, actually right here, 2.4.12 is actually pretty low on the FPS on that scene. Next scene here is with the car. So my RAM usage is a lot more on 2.4.12 version 2. I wanted to see if there's any ghosting. The power lines, they look a little worse on 2.4.12 version 2. Maybe a little bit of shimmering, but nothing crazy. Again, no ghosting on the car while driving on either version. You see the power lines of them in there, but as you can see here, it's nothing different. Both look good. Next game we're going to take a look at is Stranding. Here are the settings. I have the preset at custom. That's only because I had to switch to DLSS quality. And we're going to be taking a look at the rocks real quick here. Floating rocks going up. I think both look similar. Maybe 2.4.6 is slightly better. Less trails. But very slight. Nothing crazy, you know? But then again, you see on 2.4.12 version 2, it does look slightly better as well. But I think they're equal. Let's just leave it at that. Performance-wise, you see 2.4.12 version 2 getting more FPS, slightly more FPS in Death Stranding, which is a good sign as well. Just do a run, see. Yeah, FPS is definitely more on 2.4.12 version 2 compared to 2.4.6. Ghosting, no ghosting on holograms that you can see with FSR. Here's a close-up on the textures on Norman Reedus. I think both look good. And you guys tell me what you guys think with your own testing, if you have been testing yourself. And in this scene, you see I'm getting more frame rate as well on 2.4.12 version. Another close-up on the hair, see if there's any differences. And he fell asleep, so we can see his hair. They look good on both. I don't see an issue on either one. Now I'm going to be taking a look at God of War. Sorry I didn't show it, but I am running at the ultra settings with DLSS quality 4K. And we're going to be taking a look at the first scene here. Kratos chopping wood. Chopping that wood. FPS slightly higher. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy with the FPS at all. Video RAM usage is slightly higher in 2.4.12. Quality wise, I'd say 2.4.12 is slightly less shimmery on his beard, as you can see in the hair, but nothing too major at all. Yeah, to my eyes, just looking at both, I say 2.4.12 version 2 is a little bit better with the shimmering on his beard anyways. There's less shimmering on 2.4.12 version 2. The same thing we saw in Spiderman is the same thing in God of War in the distance. And then in this scene here, there's no ghosting or ghost trails on the birds in the sky from what I can see. No issues at all. And another issue that people were having with God of War is when you move the camera left and right, it would be ghost trails on trees or like shrubbery like this on the floor with foliage. And I'm happy to report on both. Comparing both, there's no issues on either one, so that's a good thing. And the last game we're going to be taking a look at is Horizon Zero Dawn. I had to make sure that it was on full screen. Ultimate quality is what we're going to have it on with DLSS as the anti-aliasing. And the first thing I'm going to do is just run the benchmark so you guys can get an idea of how the performance would be. But I sped it up because it's a super long benchmark, so I'll show you the results at the end, but you can watch through if you'd like through the benchmark and sort of see the FPS differences. But spoiler alert, is not that much of a difference. So yeah, there's that. Moving right along to comparing both and how they look, I'd say looking at the hair, this is at 4K mind you, but looking at the hair, they look similar as well in 2.4.6 compared to 2.4.12 version 2. And I'd say FPS is pretty similar as well compared to the two. During gameplay, I didn't show it here, but there's no ghosting issues on either one. I've never had ghosting issues with DLSS on Horizon. It was mostly just shimmering in hair that just threw me off. But if you are getting ghosting issues that I don't see during gameplay, let me know in the comments down below. Take a look at the scene. That's what I did with the Uncharted video. People found issues that I didn't see personally while playing the game. But yeah. So I'd say in conclusion, 2.4.12 version 2 is a great version of DLSS, and I recommend using it on most games. All these games I tested worked really well compared to 2.4.6, and that's saying something, especially with the shimmering in the background and stuff. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. You guys can check out my next video right here if you like. Take care of yourself and be safe out there.